here we are on a rainy day. There are really nice bluebells, there's a lot of greenery out, but it's not showing too well. And I hope the image stabilization is working as well, actually, because that looks like it's vibrating all over the place to me. But it is a grand day. I'm about to go and pick my daughter up and her friend. They're coming to stay for a few days, which now so many people have been vaccinated is like finally allowed to happen. But look at this, it's really come to life in the last week or so, because we've suddenly had rain and all the greenery is out now. One or two trees haven't come into leaf yet, but I'm sure they'll be there soon. We've got the holly, which is always there. The sycamores are out, the ash trees are out. It's all looking very natural. And nice to catch the bluebells, actually, because I was beginning to wonder if we get them this year. We always get them, but I always wonder. They're pretty late this year. But there they are, and pretty soon they'll be giving way to other things, foxgloves and other wonders. Let's see what's in the... Well, I guess I should be happy. There's a nasty letter, and here I have my, what is it again? Can't remember. It's like a herb that I sent off for incense. Lavender. That's what I got. Some lavender. Because two really good incenses to burn if you use charcoal discs like I do. Just to start things off, to really kind of clear things up and protect things. Lavender and juniper leaves as well are very handy, very potent, very protective actually. They protect from the evil eye, and they cleanse the air, cleanse the vibe and everything. And of course I like to put sage on there as well, which is always good. So here we go into town. I always feel like Crocodile Dundee when I go into town, because I don't live there. I've never ever been to a Starbucks, for example. I've seen them. I nearly went to one once because I went to visit a friend in the big city, and she worked in Starbucks, and she said come to Starbucks, but she ended up meeting me off the train, so it never happened. But I don't think I'm missing too much. Very expensive teas and coffees and things. I don't know if they even do tea. If I went in there and asked for a black tea with honey, they'd probably look at me as if I was a space alien or something. Wouldn't be at all surprised. So today I'm going to talk about meditation some. I think this is an interesting one. Pretty soon I've got every intention of uploading some meditation tracks, you know, some meditation, essentially videos, because it's YouTube, but it won't be me sitting there gassing. It'll be me kind of doing a guided meditation, kind of guiding you into it. I've got to try and find some suitable music that I won't get arrested for using or whatever, but I'm sure there's some out there. I expect I'll have to do some relaxing meditation by the end of the day. It's always good though. On the one hand, there's that nasty letter. I don't like the look of that letter. I think they're going to want more money than I've got. That's what letters like that are usually about. And having my daughter and her friend to stay is absolutely great, but could get a teeny bit stressy, I suppose, for various reasons, which I won't bore you with. The size of the trees along here, they're fantastic. They're extremely old, incredibly old. And when we go into a meditation, one of the benefits, one of the things that we're doing by slowing right down is tapping into not just ancestral energies, but the sort of ancestral energy of the whole earth, if you know what I mean. Because there were trees here such a long time before there were people. There is a tractor, and it's a big one as well. They've got a ton of something nasty on the tank on the back there as well, actually. Right, are we free to pull back out? I think we are. Okay. So not much ancestral energy about the tractor there, actually. Not that kind of tractor anyway, it's like a super tractor. They go really fast so you can drive them on the road. They burn a phenomenal amount of diesel as well, actually, but they get the job done. Sometimes I get my logs delivered by one like that. So where were we? Oh yes, meditation. By being in that quiet space, it's not like we give up our humanity. I think we enhance our humanity really rather a lot by going into that quiet space and slowing our breathing down. We enhance it a lot by linking into the way things have always been. I'm not going to say the way things were. And things certainly used to be more that way than they are now, without all the distractions we've got. But it's like when I sometimes say, listen to the silence behind the noise, or tune into the earth underneath the concrete that you're on at the moment. That magic is always there, you know, put there by the Creator. And as clever as we all think we are, there's nothing we can really do as a human race to take away the magic. We just got rather good at covering it up because it suits us. So how do we get there? Often when I talk about meditation, people will comment that they try to meditate but they just can't get there. And it's a journey, you know, and I'm afraid it can be quite a long journey. That's the unfortunate thing about it. It can be a very long journey, but it's always worth it, because just by trying, even if you haven't really got anywhere, if you don't kind of feel any benefit from it, and you start being concerned about, you know, the minute details of life. What's in the fridge? Have I left something plugged in? Is the house going to catch fire? That sort of thing. Ever-present thoughts, but just by breathing deeply, you've already sort of given the affirmation that you want things to be better somehow. And in so many ways, you'd think it was obvious to the Great Spirit and the powers that be that we all want things to be better. I'm sure it is obvious as well, actually, but we've got to do something. Even if it's just a string of thoughts, we've got to do something to affirm that that's what we want. Because we all want different things in different ways. So what do we want? It's good to know what you want when you meditate. But at the same time, if you don't really know what you want and you're not all that much in tune with that, going into a state of meditation will actually help you identify what you want and why you want it. So again, even before you've asked for it, by going into that space, you have actually given that affirmation and you have set the ball rolling. You have started the process. You've done something to make it happen. You've thought something, you've said something, you've done something. It doesn't matter, any one of those or all of them is good. But it's all about making a positive affirmation. And by that I don't mean that you've got to look up some affirmations in a book or on the internet and do particular affirmations. There are many out there and they really do help. But just doing something affirmatory, like trying to tune in, really gets things off the ground in the first place. And somehow we do need to get things off the ground in the first place. It's a very good place to start. And here is some evidence of how very close nature is to all of us, friends. find myself very, very lucky, and I'm very grateful and very delighted whenever I think of it that I have the immense good fortune to live out here in the countryside. But we have just come down what to me is quite a fast road. If you're in the States, it probably doesn't seem like a fast road or a big road at all. But it's a bypass, and you're allowed to do 70 miles an hour on there because it's a dual carriageway. Not quite an interstate. I tend to stay away from those. We call them motorways. But there is the human will to kind of dominate nature and put a road over it. And they've done it, and they've made it happen. And we're on another road now, which is a much older road, but it's still all tarmac and concrete. But the trees are just there either side of it. And even if you live in the most incredibly busy cities in the world, it's worth remembering that nature is there and would be taking over if it could. Whenever they pour the concrete, they have to put something down there to try and stop all the weeds growing through it. And that's nature trying to take over again. So here we are on a busy road. Quite a busy day today, actually, in the rain. And there's no stopping the rain. It's nature. There's no stopping nature. It's come as close as it possibly could. So remember, friends, when you're trying to meditate and ground yourself and visualizing the beautiful earth beneath your feet, remember, essentially it is all around you. It might seem a long way away. It might be a couple of miles for you to get out into the countryside, but somehow you'll do it. We think we're pretty clever, but we'll never cover the whole earth up. We'll never do it. And even if we do one day, it'll still be there. Just a few feet under our feet. So we can ground into it. And you know, it's very hard to visualize that when you're just getting on with your day, when you're busy with something. Another privilege I have is when I'm busy with something, it's usually a YouTube video about something spiritual, so I get to think about it anyway. I get to almost meditate when I make these videos. It really deepens the connection, it really does. Just get through this bit. We're on the main road to Merlin World, Carmarthen, the Kyre of Merlin. But right now we're still in the bit that's got some greenery that he might actually have recognised physically. I'm sure he's always around us, he's always there for all of us. He's like half human, half divine. He's always there for all of us. But it's so good to be somewhere where he once actually walked around. And there's something meditative about that as well. Something very meditative. Because what meditation always does is it lifts us out of everyday reality. And one way to be out of that everyday reality is to live somewhere like this, where it's just kind of so old-fashioned that not that many people want to be here. But it has that old-fashioned nature about it. And again, just to tune in to those ancestral thoughts, those connections we all have to the ancestral energy of the earth, and we do all have them. And the more we go on that journey of meditation, the more we try to do, the more we affirm what it is we're after, the closer we get to it. And when I do my guided meditation, there's something I'll be saying in any of them, in all of them, as I always do. That once you've made that journey of meditation to wherever it guides you to and leads you to, it's always that bit easier to get back there again once you've made that first journey. I think some people watching this, listening to this, would say that I'm oversimplifying what meditation is, and that's not my intention at all. It can, of course, go very much deeper than what I'm talking about. It is actually completely unlimited. There are zero limits to what can be achieved in meditation. It's massive. But I want to simplify it a bit in this video, and whenever I do it, really, just because a great many people think that to have any success at all from meditation, you would have to become like a Buddhist monk or something. And that is one of the ultimate expressions of it, what Buddhist monks do, Trappists, you know, people who meditate every single day, really go on a very long journey with it. And it changes your life so positively because you get to be aware of all the spiritual forces. It becomes entirely easy to believe all the time. No distraction can take you away from it if you meditate a lot. And if you meditate regularly, which is another side to it. But there is nothing wrong if you feel that you don't know anything about meditation, and even if you've never tried to meditate before, your 5 minutes of closing your eyes and trying to breathe slowly and then being dragged back to life by noise going on, or, you know, random thoughts about the nuts and bolts of everyday life, you know, that is just as valid. And although that doesn't seem to get you very far, it's the first step in a very, very long, very powerful journey, as long as you keep it up. And when I say keep it up, what I'm talking about is regular meditation, really. And yet again, that sounds like something kind of quite forbidding, something that maybe not everyone can do. But actually, although it's true that to really do this stuff you need to be going for like 30 minutes, an hour at a time, maybe whole days, you know. Gosh, when I was training to be a priest in the Church of Wales, we would sometimes do whole weekends, we would sometimes do whole weeks of silent meditation. There'd be no sound allowed in the college at all, unless we'd go to the church, the chapel thing, twice a day and sing hymns. And I was allowed to go and practice the organ sometimes as well on those private, on those silent meditations. So even there was a distraction, you know. And that is really powerful, you know, to really spend a whole week in meditation, or maybe longer. And the monks who spend their lifetime in meditation really go places, big places, far-flung places, and they learn the most amazing things. But just a regular meditation, just for a few minutes, if that's all it is, that'll get you started, you see. And that's what really matters, is to make a start, to start off on that journey. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, does it not? You know? As I'm driving into town here, my wheels are going to have turned hundreds of thousands of times before I get there. But I would be nowhere if they hadn't turned over the first couple of times to get me out of the garden and up the lane. So every step is valid, you know. So friends, if you're interested in this, and if you're not interested in it, I strongly suggest you get interested in it. You must have spiritual inclinations to be watching a video like this. Take some time, you know, and do it, even if it's just a few minutes. If you've got a super busy life, you know, if you work long hours and you get home and then you've got children or, you know, people that you've got to cook for or something, and that keeps you going till you fall asleep, and then, you know, take 1 minute, 2 minutes, you know. Doesn't matter as long as you keep doing it regularly. And when I say regularly, it doesn't have to be the same time on the clock every day. It's about establishing a rhythm. I always do it after I've fed my chickens, and that can be different times. With a small number of chickens like I've got, it's really useful not to feed them until the feed is empty, because if you get too much corn and stuff out there, it will attract rats. So I try and put just enough for them to eat to get through to the next day. And if I get there and there's a load left, I'll feed them a couple of hours later. So that happens all different times of day, but it's after I feed the chickens that I do the meditation. And that really seems to work for me. And what is it about that regularity? It's the rhythm. It sets up a rhythm. I'm always pointing out that there's no time in the spirit world. And I've often pointed this next bit out as well, but I think it's worth saying again. Spirit may not recognise times, but they will certainly recognise a rhythm. You know, this plays into everything spiritual, from, say for example, from a drumming circle. You don't have to be in a circle, just from, you know, playing your drum. A rhythm is there. That is very attractive to the cosmic forces. It's the same thing with having a Sabbath day in a religion. If you believe in one of those, then a Sabbath day is important, because, you know, always once a week that rhythm is established. There will be the Sabbath, certain things will happen. I was watching Schindler's List the other night. I haven't watched it for a long time. I had it on Netflix. And of course there's that wonderful moment when Schindler has got his factory set up and he's managed to essentially rescue, I think, about 1,100 people, something like that, that he managed to take out of the concentration camps. And it's coming towards the end of the war, you know. They're not technically free, they're still technically slaves, but he's got them in this factory, so they're not being beaten up and they are being fed, and they're not going to be gassed or anything. And he fixes it so they can celebrate their Sabbath. And very emotional moment in the film, in the movie, when you start hearing the rabbi actually singing those songs again. Because the Sabbath is so important, you know, and it's symbolic and very real thing. And it re-established the rhythm that the Nazis had cut off. That's what was so important. And it was a comparatively short step from there to coming to the end of atrocities, to the end of the war. If only we learned from that and never had any more wars. But hell, that's the way it is. But it's a rhythm, you know. So important in any spiritual practice, but particularly with meditation, you know. If your spirit guides know that at the same point in every day you're going to be trying to link into them, somehow they'll step that bit closer. They're always there, they never leave us, but somehow they'll step in that bit closer. So even when you're in a car park like this, or you know, somewhere that seems cut off from nature, always remember, you know, it is there for you. You can most certainly link into it. Meditation is a great way, and again, remember, if it doesn't work for you straight away, don't worry, just keep doing it. A couple of minutes a day, great if you can give it a couple of hours, absolutely fantastic. But you don't have to kind of go all out. I suppose intentionally you have to go out. You have to make it really make it your main intention. But as long as you do that, and as long as you keep trying, my friends, it's going to be okay. It's going to work. So that is just about it for this one. Thanks ever so much for watching. I'm going to leave this car park now. Let's turn my wing mirrors the right way out again there. And I am going to go off and meet my daughter. I haven't included her in this video because I don't know, she's a bit sort of internet shy, bit camera shy, bit internet shy. But maybe in a future video you will get to meet her. You just never know. But in the meantime, have a fabulous time ahead, friends. Don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't already, because there is more good stuff coming all the time. I wish you the very best of luck with your meditations. And as soon as I manage to pull out of here, like now, I'm going to say I'll see you again in a future video. Take care of yourselves, be good to each other, and love and light and blessings and peace.